welcome all of you, the whole world, to come and celebrate, enjoy not only the Enlightenment ecosystem, the beauty of how it is getting revived. Be an insider for this great revival process. If you are an insider even for a startup company, you will understand not only the result of the company, even that being an insider is such a joy. Being an insider when it was happening is something extraordinary. So, I welcome all of you to come and be part of an insider of this revival of Kailasa, the Enlightenment ecosystem, sovereign order of Kailasa, Kailasa nation itself. I request and welcome, invite all of you to become e-Kailasian, get your free e-passport and make billions receive this free e-passport. What I mean by the word e-Kailasa, listen intensely. Enlightenment ecosystem, literally enlightenment itself, in your own home, wherever you are. If you cannot come to Kailasa, it's okay. Kailasa can come to you. Kailasa coming to you is e-Kailasa. Kailasa is the totality of the knowledge I received from my gurus and practice manifested in my life, perfected by teaching millions of people from all cultures, time zones, backgrounds, genders, nationality, race, from every creed,
Nithyanandam. Nithyanandam Paramasukadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadisham Tattvamasya Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadi Sakshibhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Nithyanandam. We welcome all our viewers joining us from all around the world. We welcome all Kailasa Vasis joining us from various Kailasa monasteries, gurukuls, ashrams, monasteries, adinams, and centers from all around the world. We welcome all our viewers joining us from YouTube Live, Twitter Live, Facebook Live, Hinduism Now TV, Kailasa's Nithyananda TV. We welcome all our viewers joining us through Nana Diksha, the two-way video conferencing. We welcome all of you for today's program. We'll start today's segment with an introduction to the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Jagat Guru Mahasanidhanam, His Divine Holiness, Bhagwan Sri Nithyananda Paramashivam, is the reviver of Kailasa, a macrocosmic, ancient, enlightened Hindu civilizational nation. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is an incarnation of Paramashiva as per Hinduism, recognized by his predecessors who are enlightened masters and adepts. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has made the science of power manifestation, yoga, and temple-based universities a lifestyle for humanity. Before the year 1981, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was identified as the 1008th incarnation of Paramashiva by spiritual adepts and enlightened masters of Hinduism. In the year 1981, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was initiated into Bala Sannyas and performed his first Chaturmasya pilgrimage at the age of 3. On the picture on the right side, we see the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism at the age of 3 holding a staff, a danda, during his first Chaturmasya at the age of 3. In the year 1988, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was coronated as the future Guru Mahasanidhanam or Pontiff of the Thondai Mandala Adinam, the oldest monastic university. On 24th May 1994, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was declared as the successor of Arunachala Sarangapitham by Guru Parampara. In the year 1999, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism founded the mission Nithyananda Sangha to revive Kailasa internationally. In the same year 1999, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was coronated as the successor of Kashi Sarvangapitha. On 4th November 2002, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism founded Adi Kailasa Sarvangapitham. On 1st January 2004, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was declared as successor of Bhagyanagara Sripura Sarvangapitha. On 31st December 2004, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was declared as the incumbent emperor of Suryavamsa Surangi Samrajyam of Suryavamsa lineage. In the year 2007, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was declared as the Guru Mahasanidhanam of Adi Pallava Sarangapitham. In the same year, in 2007, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was declared as the Mahamandaleshwar of Mahanirvani Akhada. On 27th April 2012, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was coronated as the 293rd Guru Mahasanidhanam of Madurai, Shamala Pitha Sarvangapitham, the oldest Hindu papal state and monastic kingdom. In the picture in front of us, from 22nd January 2007, we see the moment when the Acharya Mahamandaleshwar of Mahanirvani Akhada, Shri Swami Vishwadevanandaji Maharaj, declared the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism as the Mahamandaleshwar. In the year 2013, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was officially coronated as the Mahamandaleshwar, Supreme Spiritual Head of Mahanirvani Akhada, the largest apex monastic order in Hinduism. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was the youngest Mahamandaleshwar during his coronation. In the year 2013, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was declared as the Acharya Mahamandaleshwar of Atal Akhada. Atal Akhada is the oldest monastic order in Hinduism. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was coronated by Acharya Mahamandaleshwar Sukadevanandaji, the then incumbent spiritual head. In the year 2014, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was coronated as the Guru Mahasanidhanam of Tanjore Adinam. In this picture, we see the coronation, the Pattabhishekam ceremony of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism as a Mahamandaleshwar or Mahanirvani Akhada done on 12th February 2013. In this picture dated 27 December 2013, we see Swami Sukadevanandaji declaring the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagwan Shri Nithyananda Paramashivam, as his legal successor and inheritor of Atal Akhada as the Acharya Mahamandaleshwar of Atal Akhada. In the year 2014, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was coronated as the Guru Mahasanidhanam of Tiruvarur Adinam. In the same year, he was also coronated as the Guru Mahasanidhanam of Vedaranyam Adinam and as the Guru Mahasanidhanam of Panchanadikulam Adinam. In the year 2015, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was coronated as the Guru Mahasanidhanam of Dharma Mukti Swargapuram Adinam. In 2015, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was also coronated as the Guru Mahasanidhanam of Adipitha Koladamad, and in the same year he was also elected as the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism by a congregation of over 1,000 spiritual leaders and pontiffs. Now let us look at some of the global initiatives of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism through Kailasa and its various international agencies and bodies. The following pictures show a small glimpse of 28 years of relentless humanitarian services, initiatives such as free vegetarian food, medical services, natural disaster relief, women empowerment initiatives, conflict resolution, peace initiatives, sustainable Hindu practices through various international agencies and bodies. The following pictures just show a small glimpse of the magnanimous contribution of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism through 28 years of relentless hard work. Now, let us look at one such example, public food security. To show the contribution of Kailasa and the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, let's take an example from the past. Around 1943, there was a man-made famine in the eastern part of India, in the state of Bengal, where, as per records, more than 3 million people were murdered in a man-made famine. The Prime Minister of the colonial era, which controlled literally 1/3 of mankind, claimed they could not do anything about the people dying of hunger because Hindus bred like rabbits and the famine was their fault. Now let's fast forward to 2016. In Ujjain Kumbh Mela, Kailasa alone single-handedly served organic food to over 3 million people. Under the leadership of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Kailasa has served more than 1 billion free meals in the past 26 years and is determined to end hunger and poverty in all its forms. Now let's understand the contribution of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. One side, we see an empire controlling literally 1/3 of humanity is unable to, claims it is unable to feed 3 million people, and they have no other choice but left to die out of man-made hunger and famine. On the other side, Kailasa, with merely 200 volunteers led by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, fed 3 million people single-handedly. This shows that we do not need a big company, we do not need a big empire, we do not need lots of money. Kailasa is not driven by war, fear, or greed. It is an enlightened-based Hindu civilizational nation driven by dispassionate, selfless service done as an offering to God in pursuit of liberation, as an offering done to the Guru, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. With this context, let us see the contributions of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism through Kailasa in the dimension of public food security. In the pictures, we can see throughout the years how Annadan, free organic vegetarian food, has been served to pilgrims, devotees, and mendicates throughout years, throughout the season, on various occasions, such as in Tiruvannamalai, Pondicherry during Thane flood relief, in Adi Kailasa, Biddi, we see the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism personally serving during 2005 in health workshops throughout different states of Tamil Nadu, such as Salem on 12 December 2007, in Tiruvannamalai in 2012, during various Kumbh Melas in Ujjain, in Nasik, in Trichangur, even in other parts of the world, such as Malaysia, Kailasa in Houston, in Madurai, even during the COVID pandemic. These still offer a small glimpse into the magnanimous contribution of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism in the dimension of food security. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has authored more than 300 books and written more than 10,000 articles in 3 languages, English, Tamil, and Sanskrit, which have been translated into 50 languages with over 1,000 titles. Over 20 million copies of these books and articles have been sold, read, and downloaded. In fact, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has a record on his name for authoring 1,123 books by a single author. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has established the largest Hindu library with over 1 million books, 1 million palm leaf scriptures, and over 20 million digital books. During the last 27 years, Kailasa has recovered a total of about 50,000 physical manuscripts of various sampradayas, such as Shaivism, Buddhism, and Jainism. Over the last 27 years, Kailasa has collected 3 million books on Hinduism in ancient scripts, such as Sanskrit, Tamil, Grantha. In the last 27 years, 2 million scriptures on Hinduism have been collected by Kailasa in various formats, such as digital books, manuscripts, photos, and articles. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is revered as the most prolific and most viewed guru in the digital world. He is read and watched by over 1 billion followers in Hinduism. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has delivered over 10,000 hours of discourses, which have gathered over 1 billion views on social media. In fact, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has a record to his name for delivering the maximum discourses, for speaking the maximum number of hours of public discourses on 7,407 topics. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is respected as commentator of all sacred scriptures such as Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, Shiva Sutras, Yoga Sutras, Ashtavakra Gita, Jain Sutras, etc. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is honored as leader of Hinduism, the most awarded, internationally recognized Hindu leader. Now, let us watch at some of the recognitions and commendations received by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism.
Kailasa Nación en persona.
Madam Chairperson, esteemed delegates and colleagues, I represent Kailasa Nation led by Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Sri Nithyananda Paramashivam, which speaks on behalf of 2 billion Hindus around the world who do not have a voice representing them in these international forums. I want to specifically bring to light the attack on minority Hindu traditions. Hinduism, as people know, is not a single monolithic religion, but it's made up of thousands of unique Enlightenment ecosystems, which are called sampradayas. In recent times, many Hindu gurus, Hindu minority traditions, and temples have come under attack by majority ideologies, and a large number of traditions have virtually disappeared. There has been no recognition of the attacks, by international human rights groups, as in these cases, it is difficult for outsiders to distinguish the attackers from the attacked.
The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is acclaimed as one of the top 100 spiritually influential living personalities by Watkins' Mind, Body, Spirit magazine. The Sovereign Order of Kailasa, led by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagwan Sri Nithyananda Paramashivam, and Nithyananda Order of Monks, Nuns, and Hindu diaspora, are working for global peace and to give superconscious breakthrough to humanity. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is the establisher of the largest Hindu university in the world with satellite campuses in 150 countries. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is the establisher of over 1,000 Kailasa Enlightenment ecosystems. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is the founder and reviver of over 100 Sarvanga Peethams. With this, we come to the conclusion of this short introduction to the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. An important announcement. Paramashivoham, starting 9th December up until 29th December, the most awaited breakthrough program with the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. Paramashivoham is an immersive 21-day awakening event to teach you the science of manifesting the ultimate consciousness in you. The science begins with discovering the Paramashiva in you and then getting established in this true identity by manifesting powers of Paramashiva. Join us for this grand event by registering at kailasa.org/Paramashivoham. The link is projected in front of everybody. Please sign up. Do visit kailasa.org/Paramashivoham. With this, we come to the end of this segment. We'll be right back. Please stay with us. Thank you, Nithyanandam.
I welcome all of you, the whole world, to come and celebrate, enjoy not only the Enlightenment ecosystem, the beauty of how it is getting revived. Be an insider for this great revival process. If you are an insider even for a startup company, you will understand not only the result of the company, even that being an insider is such a joy. Being an insider, when it was happening, is something extraordinary. So, I welcome all of you to come and be part of an insider of this revival of Kailasa, the Enlightenment ecosystem, Sovereign Order of Kailasa, Kailasa nation itself. I request and welcome, invite all of you to become e-Kailasian, get your free e-passport and make billions receive this free e-passport. What I mean by the word e-Kailasa, listen intensely. Enlightenment ecosystem, literally enlightenment itself, in your own home, wherever you are. If you cannot come to Kailasa, it's okay. Kailasa can come to you. Kailasa coming to you is e-Kailasa. Kailasa is the totality of the knowledge I received from my gurus and practice manifested in my life, perfected by teaching millions of people from all cultures, time zones, backgrounds, genders, nationality, race, from every creed. So this absolutely perfected knowledge available to you, served to you in your home without even you moving out of your couch, free of cost.
Modern science says that all that exists, whether manifest or unmanifest, is a probability. Infinite probabilities create a quantum field of infinite potential. An observer collapses the probability wave into a particle. Your intention thus creates the reality. Called the observer effect, it is the very act of observation that precipitates any reality into existence. Hinduism is far advanced than this primitive understanding in the modern day. Hindus know this field of infinite potential as Paramashiva. Paramashiva permeates everything, manifest and unmanifest. He is intelligent, compassionate, and a myriad other auspicious qualities.
Nithyanandam, yes, welcome back. And so, as we just heard, the breakthrough event starting in December 9th is the Paramashivoham, the opportunity for you to experience dimensions beyond what is our usual logical understanding. So this life is a vast experience and is manifesting every possibility from every possibility that is available to you. In our normal daily lives, we're not experiencing that, but it's possible. If you watch this channel at all, you know this is the place where regular individuals just like you are initiated to manifest all superpowers. So let us take a quick look at actually how this spiritual progress happens. So if we look at the scriptures of Sanatana Hindu Dharma, Bhagavad Gita actually tells us, Tani sarvani samyamya yukta asita madparaha shehiya sandriyani tasya prajna pratishtita. The translation is, whether you believe it or not, whether you want to understand it or not, you are a person, you are an individual soul reflecting pure consciousness. So whether you recognize it or not, you're an individual soul reflecting the pure consciousness. Next is, now how does this growth happen? How does the spiritual growth happen? Your conscious decision to empower the oneness experience is enough for the oneness to blossom in you, oneness to take over you. It is just declaring your willingness, the conscious willingness. So just your decision, you are an individual soul that radiates the pure consciousness. And just your decision is enough to make that flower in you. Next is the understanding of modern science and the studies of epigenetics and how these spiritual practices can impact your DNA. So there's many studies in the sciences of epigenetics that is showing the impact on changing our DNA that our actions can take. For example, the New Scientist had reported on the boosted genes had 3 main beneficial effects: improving the efficiency of the mitochondria, the powerhouse of cells, boosting insulin production, which improves control of blood sugar, and preventing the depletion of telomeres, caps on chromosomes that help to keep DNA stable and so prevent cells wearing out and aging. Clusters of genes that became less active were those governed by a master gene called NF-kappa B, which triggers chronic inflammation, leading to diseases including high blood pressure, heart disease, inflammatory bowel disease, and some cancers. So this is specifically showing how spiritual practices such as yoga meditation can have an impact on the mitochondria, the powerhouse of the cells, and also downregulates or reduces diseases, cancers, and inflammation. So modern science directly showing the impact of these initiations that happen during Paramashivoham. So the next question that we all have is, yes, okay, the science is there, the initiations are there, and the epigenetic studies is there. But is it possible for me? Is it possible to live a superhuman life in the human body? Does third eye awakening really exist? Can such awakened states be transmitted from master to disciple? So the answer is yes. Next is seeing the impact of the initiations through the programs such as Paramashivoham from the Supreme Pandava of Hinduism. Here we see a study of the mitochondrial cell energy in previous participants receiving the initiations and darshans from the Supreme Pandava of Hinduism, showing a 1300% increase in the mitochondrial cell energy. The researchers reported such an increase is clearly impossible through any other known means, such as exercise, yoga, or fitness training, which can affect a maximum of 40% increase in the muscles. To see this in the red or white cellular energy is very unusual. So what is being seen from the initiations from the Supreme Pandava of Hinduism and darshans is something that science cannot explain and has never seen before. So next is actually what we see is this is the science of us traveling to higher lokas. So the higher consciousness exists, but how do we get there? Basically, the infusion of the cosmic superconscious mutation energy results in quantum entanglement and causes the neurons of the receptor to mirror the space of perpetual completion radiating from the Supreme Pandava of Hinduism at a biological level. So these are really scientific terms, actually. The quantum entanglement is a study of how these cells in your body become entangled with higher consciousness during initiations and superconscious experiences. And so this is showing how that experience that happens in the living master, the living incarnation, is literally mirrored in your system after going through the initiations, through the Paramashivoham experiences. So you'll see at the bottom of your page on the left-hand side is the paramashivoham.org link. So please register your intention there to have your life transformative experience begin immediately. We'd like to now take a moment to experience some of these sharings from previous participants in the Paramashivoham experiences, initiations, darshans with the Supreme Pandava of Hinduism. We have with us today to share a brief snippet of his vast experiences and benefits of the superconscious mutation process from the Supreme Pandava of Hinduism is Saurabha Nithyananda, welcome. And thank you so much for joining us. If you would just please briefly introduce yourself for everyone, welcome.
Thank you so much, Nithyanandan, to everyone. So my name is Saurabha Aneja, and I came to Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. I became aware of him back in 2018. Since then, it has been incredible, tremendous journey. And through that journey, I have attended a few programs. The main program recently that I attended was Paramashivoham Level 3, Season 1. And then I was able to also attend a few days of the recently concluded Season 3 of Paramashivoham Level 1 as well. I mean, right off the bat, something that I would like to share is like every program is like an upgrade. You know, the iPhones, the Samsung phones, they upgrade once a year. With Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, they upgrade on a daily basis. Every initiation, every darshan, every Bhav Samadhi darshan that is there, it's just infuses us with so much fresh energy. Just the space that the master radiates, it just basically keeps increasing the level, keeps increasing the level of experience in all of us. And I've particularly experienced this. See, many times, and let me go into the precise experience here. Many times what happens is during a darshan or during an initiation, we are sitting through that experience and we are feeling joy and oneness. But we don't really, I mean, I should speak for myself. I don't really understand what initiation is happening. How is that going to change my inner space? What kind of impact it is going to have? only when the days go by, you start to kind of decipher what has happened through the results. And in my particular experience, just the way I'm able to handle life, how that changes magically. I mean, I'm using the word magic, of course. It's all scientific. Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has explained how initiations work, how he basically transforms us not only at the spiritual level, but even at the biological level, as some of your slides were showing. So again, extremely thankful to Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism for continuous non-stop initiations. Even when the darshan finishes, the initiation doesn't stop. I mean, I'll say from my personal experience, you carry that seed. He plants that seed inside the inner space, which just flowers. Whenever we allow it to flower or on its own. Sometimes we don't have a say. Also, just accepting that he's Paramashiva in the living form is enough for that seed to flower and effectively have its effect in time as well.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And you have had many initiation darshan experiences, and this is to a large extent is the point that life is ready to support you, and this is a science documented in the scriptures of Sanatana Hindu Dharma and brought to life by the living masters and the living incarnation of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Jagat Guru Mahasannidhanam Bhagavan Sri Nithyananda Paramashivam, and the initiations that he gives. Is there any specific experience of the during Darshan's initiations that you would highlight at this point?
Sure. I mean, there's a long list. I remember specifically the first pure unclutching experience I had. This was back in 2020 during Paramashivoham level 1. And since then, it's just been upgraded. So I'll share a particular experience I had. This was actually 5 days ago. And Swamiji recently initiated us with the Skanda Bhav Samadhi Darshan, Subramanya Bhav Samadhi Darshan. And as usual, I'm sitting through the darshan. I'm thinking, oh, this is really good. This is really fun. Such a beautiful darshan from the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. But I don't know what is the impact on my inner space. And a few days later, I am just sitting. I'm just taking a break from work. I'm just sitting on my bed. And suddenly, this space opens up from inside. I mean, the only way to describe it for me is it's almost like I zoomed out on the time dimension. So usually we are so clutched to time that we are continuously thinking of past, present, and future as independent entities. And future is something which hasn't happened yet, and past is something which is already done. And ultimately, we are never in the present moment because our mind is fluctuating between these two extremes. And in this particular experience, the way I would verbalize it is there was a zoom out effect. It was almost like I flew distant from the time dimension, and suddenly I saw the whole past. Let's say on the left side, and the whole of the future, everything that is about to happen on the right side, and almost time as a dimension, as a straight line, and I'm just disconnected from it. I'm just hovering above it. And I realize this whole time dimension is just coming out of my inner space. And I guess just after realizing what was happening, absolutely zero thoughts, zero concerns. I mean, how can you have a thought when you're suddenly experiencing that all time, the whole of the time dimension is basically coming out of you? So there's absolutely nothing to think. There's absolutely nothing to worry. There's nothing to I would say there's nothing even to celebrate, because all of these experiences are just part of this dimension, and now you're just stepped out. It's almost like you've been living inside a shell for a long, long time, and you've forgotten that you are actually not this shell. And suddenly, that I think the right term here would be unclutching from the time dimension. So that unclutching, when it happened from the time dimension, suddenly there's a beautiful realization: hey, I am outside the time dimension. I can re-enter as and when I want, but I can step out as well. And usually, and again, only the master can verify this experience, because frankly, I don't even know how to describe this. But one thing which, usually I ask myself, whenever I have a spiritual experience of this magnitude, I usually ask myself, how do I know this is something significant? And I usually have only two criteria. One is I should be completely unclutched, no thoughts. So I didn't have any thoughts when I was having this experience. The second is, am I able to recreate that space later on? And thankfully, and again, I would say, I don't know how this is working, but as soon as I think of that space, automatically I'm able to enter that space again. So that to me makes this thing much more real. It is beyond the brain. And the physical effect, see, I've been talking about the spiritual thing. How do we relate to it physically? So physically, when I have this experience, it's the only way to describe it is that the whole brain feels like a wax settling down. So it's almost like when I'm clutching to time, continuously the consciousness is clutching to the brain, literally physical brain. And when I entered this experience of Amrit Kala, I mean, that's the only word I could find, pure, alive awareness beyond time. Whenever I enter into this experience, suddenly I feel that the whole brain has settled down. It's almost like melting away. And the consciousness is just being pulled back from body, brain, from the time dimension itself. So again, still processing what the experience is. But I would say even this processing, etc., has become irrelevant, because as soon as I enter that experience, there is no explanation, there's no logic, there is absolutely no words that happen in the inner space. So again, really in gratitude to Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, because I know for sure that these kind of experiences cannot be self-created. Ultimately, we are all unclutched and we are reflecting that pure Paramashiva space. But to get to this kind of experience on my own, I don't think is possible. I think only through the grace of the master who's already established in this space can this experience be given and received by a devotee. So again, thank you so much to Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism for such wonderful experiences. And you can imagine the impact it has even psychologically on me, because I know now that anytime I'm in stress, I'm in distress, I'm in fear, what is all this? All these things are happening in the time dimension. And all I need to do, if I'm not able to handle something, all I need to do is just step out of the time dimension, and these things just become so distant in an instant. So it's like a quantum jump that happens. When I'm within the time dimension, the mind is working past, present, future. As soon as I take that quantum jump, suddenly all of these things and even the future problems, etc., are just part of this straight line. And I'm able to step out of it. So again, too many words to describe something which probably, I think it's a matter of experience. Because if I was describing it to my own old self, it would be very hard to understand and put words to it. So let me pause there.
Yeah. Oh, that's tremendous. Actually, it shows how just a single moment a single initiation from the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism can create a completely new experience of life and completely new way of seeing things. And not only that, but also you having the ability to use it at will. Like you said, if you realize that you're clutching on too much to some aspect of life or time or stress, worry, or what's happening, just by recognizing and deciding, you're able to liberate yourself from that. So this is literally a superconscious. This is literally what is the superconscious mutation, that when we entangle with the higher dimensions, that creates transformation in us beyond time and space. And actually, in terms of being able to, operate from that superconscious space, actually the ability to use it as a tool, like you have shared, is the ultimate gift, to be able to liberate ourselves at any moment. We have just a few moments left, Aya. I just would ask if there's, another aspect you'd like to share, or if there's a message you would have for people who are, because as we've said at the bottom of the screen is the paramashivoham.org link to register the intention for each individual to have this experience in their own life, to have this darshan liberation experience, and to start that process immediately, to request blessings immediately by entering the intention form. And so Aya, if you could say a few words to people who were having the intention to participate in Paramashivoham, or to enter the intention, or have some doubts or questions, what would you share to this group of people?
Absolutely. I mean, I would say, I would use the words, if you have not experienced the flowering of initiation from Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, then you have not experienced the pure unclutching space, which I call the real vacation. The only real vacation in town is the pure unclutching space, which simply everyone receives as a pure gift from the initiations. And I call it a real vacation. Let me just add a couple of lines there. See, in our life, we are continuously running from pillar to post, running after our desires or running away from our fears. But ultimately, the mind, there's no break from the mind. The only break we get from the mind is during deep sleep. But in deep sleep, because we are not conscious, we are not able to enjoy that bliss, that silence. And only when the unclutching flowers inside us, you really understand what does a real vacation mean. Because when the mind is just seized in its usual function, in its usual running and chaotic functioning, that's the real vacation for me. And again, this is something, if we are living, as I was saying earlier, if we are living inside a shell, that's the only world we know. If the fish is born in the ocean, the only surroundings, the only space it knows is the ocean. It has no idea what's outside the ocean. There's a whole another universe outside the ocean. So in the same way, sitting through these initiations, accepting the time with the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, allows us to experience dimensions inside us which are unexplored. I mean, we all know intuitively there is more to life than we see with our, that we experience through our senses. But through the programs, through the Paramashivoham, that experience becomes reality. It's as I was saying, it's not you are taking one step and then taking the second step and third step. It's basically a quantum jump, and suddenly that quantum jump happens into that experience. And again, I would say I will not trade this real vacation of unclutching, which has come directly from the initiations from Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, with anything else, because everything else can be dropped. But this unclutching, actually, when everything else is dropped, only this remains. This pure unclutching space remains. And you realize there is no effort needed to be unclutched. I have myself gone through this whole phase of sitting for unclutching meditation, trying to unclutch, going through the process. And then suddenly through initiation, such a big change happens that coming out of unclutching becomes an effort. So this whole 180-degree happens where earlier you are trying to sit and meditate and you're struggling with your mind and nothing is happening and you're frustrated more than ever. After initiation, suddenly some space opens up and your default becomes that unclutched pure bliss space. The effort needed is actually to come out of it. So only if you put in an effort, you will actually step out of that bliss and again, deal with the things of the world with the ability to step back in whenever you feel like. And again, I would say not getting a break from the mind, not through the deep sleep state, but in the conscious, aware state, the mind ceasing to exist. I think it's the biggest miracle that can happen to anyone. And again, I would motivate, and then just my final words, anyone who wants to experience the bliss, the joy of pure consciousness. We have the embodiment of that pure consciousness with us in the form of Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, who is tirelessly, ceaselessly, without any expectation from us, just continues to share his space and energy non-stop. I mean, the amount of work he has done for humanity, the amount of work he is doing to set up the infrastructure to support thousands and millions of beings for enlightenment is just mind-boggling. And if you are missing Paramashivoham, if you have not experienced Paramashivoham, I tell you, there is no excuse. You are missing out on something huge, something very significant. So just have the determination. He will make it happen. Everything he will fix. Actually, everything he fixes. The only thing needed from our side is strong clarity and determination. No matter what, I have to attend this program. Everything else will fall in place. So thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much. And so this is exactly the opportunity we have now. Please click on do Paramashivoham, enter your intent to have this breakthrough in your life right now. Paramashivoham.org. If you need help, if you'd like support, if you want to request a blessing, whatever social media platform you're watching on now, please put your message. Swamiji spiritually blesses your intention and your blessing request immediately. And so to thank you, Aya, for sharing so much beautifully today. This is exactly the experience possibility we have. And so it starts just by you saying yes, as I had said. Just you saying yes initiates the entire process. Paramashivoham.org is your place to start your intention today, your new life and your new life breakthrough. Thank you so much, Aya. And with this, we will now prepare to receive the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism during the live satsang. Thank you, Nithyanandam.
Paramashiva's message directly from Kailasa. Listen. The existence of the super consciousness consciously, powerfully reflecting into your conscious existence and your conscious existence recognizing your possibilities and powers of your superconscious existence is superconscious mutation. I wanted to make it very clear. This word mutants is misunderstood all over the world, especially the Hollywood movies and TV serials, the way they project the idea mutants. That is not the way Hinduism reveals about the conscious mutation. Please understand. The Hollywood movies and TV serials, what they talk about mutants is people with extra power, but not enlightenment or the intelligence, compassion to handle the power, compassion to handle the responsibility. It is more like a unconscious mutants from the lower worlds. Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Patala. The lower worlds. That concept only is presented in Hollywood movies and TV series like a Heroes, the New Heroes TV series. All these presents almost kind of a frightening depiction about the mutants. Completely forget about that. Understand what Hindu Shastras, Hindu scriptures, Vedas and Agamas, Puranas talk about superconscious mutation. From the vertical time zone, the higher conscious beings, people who achieved superconsciousness, those beings, their superconsciousness, when that reflects in your individual conscious existence, you start manifesting great enlightenment, intelligence, compassion, highest order of human values and divine qualities. With those jnana, buddhi, higher values, you start manifesting powers, extraordinary shaktis. Please understand. In India, even 200 years before, this was a lifestyle. Every village will have few Shatavadanis. Shatavadani means a person who can perform 100 acts at a time. Please understand. Great Vedic scholars in Hindu tradition developed these powers, possibilities through the superconscious mutation. Through this superconscious mutation, they could perform 100 acts at a time because all their non-mechanical parts of the brain was awakened through this superconscious mutation process. I want all of you to know elaborately our Hindu scriptures, history, books have documented. Puranas are not mythology or myth, It's a history. They have documented these superconscious mutants, people who had the superconscious mutation experience. The Panchapandavas' birth itself is a superconscious mutation. Kundi received the power to make the superconscious beings give their DNA and give birth to kids through their DNA. She brought Surya's DNA with the blessing of Surya. That superconscious mutant is Karana. Till the end, his great value, the greatest value of Surya is just giving. Radiance is his very nature. Anything Karna had, he just gave. The quality of giving, radiating, could never be removed from Karna because he is from the DNA of Surya, the greatest giver, Bhaskara, radiating. He gave his very life. He is the extraordinary giver. Then Kundi brought the DNA of Yamadharma Raja, Yama, who is the Lord of natural law, Dharma, and gave birth to a child in the same signs of superconscious mutation. Till the end, Dharma. Yudhishthira never violates Dharma. The way he upheld Dharma is unimaginable. It's because superconscious mutation. Then comes Bhima. It's a superconscious being, Vayu. His DNA was brought, and Vayu's very DNA, superconscious mutation has been done, and Bhima was born. The power Bhima radiated, the power of Vayu Bhagavan, the power Bhima radiated is unimaginable. Arjuna is a superconscious mutant of Indra. Then Nahula and Sahadeva, they are the superconscious mutants of Ashwini Kumaras. These great beings are all superconscious mutants. Understand, our Idihasas, Puranas elaborately document these superconscious mutation and the signs of superconscious mutation. There's an elaborate description of the 7 enlightenment cities, Kashi, Kanchi, Madhura, all these 7, Mayapuri, all these 7 enlightenment cities each having the population of 10,000 Sahasravatanis, 1 lakh Shadavatanis. Sahasravatani means who can perform 1,000 action at a time. Sadavadani means who can perform 100 action at a time. Please understand, what I am talking is not story. Even as recently as now, there are documentation in Mohal's court where they start awarding Shatavadanis. They start giving awards to Shatavadanis. There are documentation. In front of the court, people performed this 100 acts at a time. Forget all of that. Even now, in Andhra, the Telugu Brahmins community, they are keeping this tradition of avatanis alive. The living stream is not dead. It is there still. It's there. Shodasavadanis, Ashtavadanis, still the tradition is there. In Andhra, the Telugu Brahmins tradition, and even the Telugu Brahmins who came and settled in the banks of Kaveri in Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. All the three, Godavari, Karnataka, Kaveri in Karnataka, Kaveri in the Tamil Nadu. In all three places, the Telugu Brahmins who came and settled are still keeping this Avadani traditions alive. Actually, there's an elaborate description how these rivers were energized with the superconscious energy for these Avadani traditions to be kept alive. The Ganga was used for Sahasravatana, Sahasravatanis, people who can perform 1,000 acts. They settled in Kashmir and Kashi. Then the next level, people who can perform little less than 1,000, but around 900. They settled in Yamuna. And you need to know, after the Ganga and Yamuna, people who can perform above 500, but less than 900. That group settled near Godavari. That is why when we describe the rivers and worship, Gange cha Yamune chaiva Godavari Saraswati. Saraswati does not come third, Godavari comes third. Then comes Saraswati. Gange cha Yamune chaiva Godavari Saraswati Narmade Sindhu Kaveri. It was different settlement of different Avadanis. There's an elaborate description of how these Avadanis are trained and how this science was kept alive. Avadani's training is one of the aspects of superconscious mutation. More than Avadanis, another important aspect of superconscious mutation is ability to use the astras. Ability to use the different organs, senses. Listen. Ability to use different organs and senses. That superconscious mutation is Avadanis. You will have an extraordinary capacity to smell, think, write poetry, recollect the numbers, names uttered, means the Jnanendriya, Karmendriya. Manas, Chitta, Buddhi, memory, everything will be fully active, alive, intensely, simultaneously, spontaneously, synergetically. That is what is the definition of being an avatani. All your jnanendriyas and karmendriyas. Jnanendriya means the organs in your system which receives information and processes. Karmendriya means organs in your system which performs actions. Jnanendriyas and karmendriyas and the internal organs who are responsible for jnanendriyas and karmendriyas to be fully active and alive. Sorry for using too many Sanskrit terms. I'll try to translate every Sanskrit term I'm using and give English meaning. The knowledge receptors and action performers, these two organs, for example, tongue, when it tastes, it is called jnanendriya. When it speaks, it is called karmendriya. Same tongue, when it performs the action of receiving the taste and processing that information, it's called jnanendriya. The same tongue, when it performs the action of talking, it's called karmendriya. Like that, the jnanendriyas and karmendriyas and the internal organs which are responsible for these jnanendriyas and karmendriyas to be active. For example, liver. Only if your liver is absolutely detoxed and fully active, you will have a deep ability to coordinate all the actions. Please understand, coordination of all the actions needs not just the support of the brain, it needs the support of your liver. Because your liver is responsible for all your internal organs functioning smoothly. So, the avadani has to keep his whole body detoxed. If you are an avadani, you will automatically keep your body detoxed. Only if you are detoxed, you will be able to be an avadani. Keeping all your karmendriyas, jnanendriyas and internal organs active, alive, simultaneously, spontaneously, synergetically, in a synced way, is called avadana. I myself have seen an avadani who can smell, listen to the music, taste some of the food items, and hear the numbers, flower names, various other names being uttered, and see the scenes in front of him, which is constantly changed, various paintings, mix all this and sing poetry without missing the order. He can see everything, listen everything, and during this whole process, somebody will be touching his back with peacock feather at various points. He will narrate this whole thing in a poetic way without missing the order. This multiple performance avadanis is one aspect of superconscious mutation. Then the next, using shastras. That is what now I am making Suvignana master. See, in Shankara's history, if you see Adi Shankara's history, two of his disciples never studied anything. Totakacharya, Bhatmapada. They just served him. Just by superconscious mutation, he made both of them Shastravadanis. Shastravadanis, like Sahasra Avadanis on Shastra. Sahasra Avadanis means they can perform 1,000 actions at a time. Shastra centered. He made both of them Sarvanyas. What Mandana Mishra did through the self-effort, his whole life, Adi Shankara gave it through superconscious mutation to Todaka and Bhatmapada Acharyas, just like that. Sarvanyatva can be transmitted through the initiation. And Sahasravadana of Shastras can be transmitted just like that. Adi Shankara has demonstrated it. Then Sahasravadanis of Shastras. How do you think Drona could transmit this whole science to all the students in short period? Especially the capacities of Arjuna, Bhima. If you see all their capacities, unimaginable capacities cannot come by training. It is only the science of superconscious mutation. Just within 7 years, Karna receives everything including Brahmastram from Parasurama. How? It's impossible by training, but only through the superconscious mutation. Understand, superconscious mutation is a science. There are 25 branches of Sahasravatana, performing 1,000 actions at a time centered on organs. This tradition is kept alive in the Telugu Brahmins community who settled in the banks of Godavari and Kaveri. Understand what I am saying? Even now, there is a living stream, at least few people. We have Shodasavadanis, means who can perform 16 actions at a time. I want to tell you, put this on record, how the invaders of India destroyed this Avadani tradition. They understood these Avadanis are the powerful people keeping this Hindu tradition alive. So these invaders started rewarding the Avadanis. Everyone thought, why will award and reward Avadanis? Hindus. Because all these Hindu Avadanis have started coming out openly, publicly to receive the award and reward. They collected everyone and finished them off once for all. That is the way the living stream of the Avadanis were destroyed by the invaders. Understand? But one good news I have for you, all of you, is fortunately, this Avadani, the superconscious mutation, is done in the DNA level. If the Telugu Brahmin DNA is available, Telugu Brahmin kids are available, that is enough. I can reinitiate them, revive the whole Avadani tradition, which is what I am doing through our Gurukul. This is the good news we have. The Gotra of Avadanis, the Telugu Brahmins who carry this Avadanis DNA, if the child is initiated into power manifestation, immediately he reclaims, his DNA is awakened, and the whole Avadana powers starts manifesting. The superconscious mutation starts happening. Shrikant Iyer is sending a message. His family also, there are Avadanis. Shrikant Iyer, you are a Tamil Brahmin. That is not called Avadanis. That is a different science. It is yogic powers. Please understand. The Telugu Brahmins kept the Avadana tradition alive. Tamil Brahmins kept the Mantra Shastra alive. The Avadanis which you are talking, Shrikant Iyer, your family, you are actually Tamil Brahmin, means the Tanjavur Brahmins, Tambra's family. Hope I am right. And people who carry that Iyer title, that DNA, your Avadanatva is manifested through Mantra Shastra. Fundamentally, the Tamil Brahmins Avadana tradition, that superconscious mutation is Shastra centered. The Telugu Brahmins Avadana tradition is organ centered. Karmendriya, Jnanendriya centered power is the Telugu Brahmins Avadana tradition. The Tamil Brahmins, see, I don't want to create any conflict or community fight here. I am just putting all these things in record. Whatever I saw in the Akashic records and Shastras and the traditions and books, I am putting it on record. The Tamil Brahmins have the Sahasravatana capacity, Shastra centered. Once the Tamil Brahmin boy or a girl goes through a superconscious mutation, he can perform Avadana on any Shastras. On any Shastras. The Shastra-centric Avadana performance, Sahasravadana performance, science was kept alive, focused by Tamil Brahmins. Please understand, it's not that Tamil Brahmins never studied the Avadana tradition of Telugu Brahmins, but each of them took up one branch and kept it alive. And Shastra-centered Avadana tradition. Shastra means weapon. Shastra, Astra-centered Avadana tradition was kept alive by Parasurama's Gotra in UP. The whole UP area, the modern day Uttar Pradesh and Uttarakhand, in that area, the Parasurama's Gotra is still alive. They have that Sahasravadana tradition centered on Shastras and Astras. Still, I have seen one Brahmin sadhu who can pick up a grass and chant a mantra and throw that grass. It will catch fire by itself and go and fall some 20-30 kilometers away and blast. I have seen a sadhu who can perform this avadana. Please understand, the organ-centric superconscious mutation avadani tradition was kept alive in Telugu Brahmin stream. Shastra-centric, mantra-centric, Sahasravadana tradition was kept alive by Tamil Brahmins, and Astra-Shastra, weapon-centric Avadana was kept alive by the Parashurama's Gotra in UP and Uttarakhand, the modern day Uttar Pradesh and UP, the UP, Uttar Pradesh and Uttarakhand. And Ramesh Ramani is sending a message that they are Telugu Brahmins, and one of his great-grandmother has written the Ramayana on wall. Oh God. Actually, these are living, what to say, that living documentations. And I am getting so many messages. And Nitya Ramani is saying that Isha and Keshava are of Telugu Brahmins. Can they be initiated, Swamiji? Please understand, for the superconscious mutation, they have to be in a Gurukul. And Nitya Ramani, if you want 2 kids for the family, keep Isha and Keshav. Now plan to give birth to more kids. And you are young, you are not old. You are young, you can. Give birth at least 2 to 3 kids more. Send them to Gurukul because it needs a full attention for their DNA to fully manifest. Mainly the ecosystem. Ecosystem where they continue every day, they have to manifest powers. Their food. You need to understand, Nitya Ramani, because you asked, I am telling you, the lifestyle and the kind of words people utter around, all that plays a major role when a child flowers into Avadani. The fear and greed, everything should be centered on power manifestation, not on money manifestation. See, it is not that our Gurukul kids don't have fear or don't have greed, but it is all centered on power manifestation. They get greedy to manifest more powers. They get fear if they don't manifest powers. But it is not centered on money. Oh, will I get a job? Will I get this certificate? Will I get that? So understand, the whole life has to be focused on power manifestation and becoming avadanis. The real reason why I am so focused on Gurukul is my work is not just writing some 1,000 books, giving 1,000 satsangs. My work is super conscious mutation, making thousands and thousands of avadanis, power manifestors, demonstrably. Please understand one more thing. I want to put this whole thing on record. Good news is this whole science is recorded inside the DNA. So as long as the last Brahmin is alive, this science cannot be destroyed, cannot be eliminated. That's the good news. The great news is Paramashiva has empowered me. He has given me the power to revive, awaken, and do the superconscious mutation and revive that power of Sahasravadani. So Nithyaramani, first thing, you are young, you are not old. Both of you are young. You can plan for at least 2 or 3 more kids and send them to Gurukul after the age of 7. This will be equivalent to giving $1 billion to Hindu society. Understand? When you give one child to Gurukul and when he starts manifesting powers, a tradition is revived. Not just one person. A tradition is revived. I always tell people, when one Hindu woman is taken away, it is not that we lose one woman, yet whole lineage is lost. Same way, if the one child, Brahmin child, or one Brahmin girl starts manifesting this avatana powers, it is not that one girl or one boy is manifesting. The whole gotra, the whole order, the tradition, the heritage, that whole lineage is revived. The kids who are staying in their home with parents, I can initiate them, give them few powers. But becoming like a Sahasravatani, you need the ecosystem where the kids manifest these powers intensely. I wanted to tell all of you who put the message now, Ramesh Ramani, Nithya Ramani, Shrikant Iyer, all of you, take this very seriously. One child from the Brahmin tradition, Brahmin DNA, please understand, I am not a casteist person. All of you should know, I myself is not a Brahmin DNA. I am from Adishaiva Velalar community. So you should know that I am not a casteist person, and I talk so much about social justice, and I work for the social justice. Here I am talking about the biology of the superconscious mutation. I am not talking about the social community structure. I am talking about the biology of the superconscious mutation. So understand, if one Brahmin child becomes part of the Gurukul and he starts manifesting powers and Sarvanyatva, and he starts manifesting this Avadanitva, not just the one child, the whole lineage is revived. Hindus need to realize last 300 years, heavy persecution, huge effort was put to destroy this Avadani science, the superconscious mutation science, because this is the core of Hinduism. Core of Hinduism is not just in Shastras, not just in temples. All that is great. Keeping it alive, all that is container. Content is the superconscious mutation process. Understand, I am not disrespecting Shastras or the temples. No way. But all I am telling you is Shastras and temples are all containers. See, when invaders invaded India, they burnt libraries, whole thing. Some of our libraries was burning for 2 years. Around 20 million books, manuscripts have been burnt. But the whole thing was rewritten within next 10 years by just 10 Brahmins sitting in a remote forest, because in their DNA the whole thing is programmed and in their memory the whole thing is there. They just sit and go on writing. Patanjali himself says, I took my 1,000-headed Patanjali Adisesha farm and wrote this whole Mahabhashya. It means he became the Sahasravatani, the 1,000 independent, intelligent brain tracts. He activated it, and all the whole 1,000 track revealed all the 1,000 branches of the knowledge. Patanjali is the Tamil Brahmin who is a Sahasravatani, mantra, Shastra-centric Sahasravatani. Is the Tanjore Brahmin. Shastra-centric Sahasravatani. He reveals the whole Mahabhashya. So if you just have one Patanjali, even if 1,000 libraries are burnt, no problem. They will repeat it and rewrite it, pen the whole thing down in next 10 years. That is the way, even though millions of temples are destroyed and the libraries got burnt, we immediately came back. We immediately revived the whole thing in next generation, within next generation. Now is the time to revive not just the Avadani science of organ-centric, mantra-centric, Shastra and Shastra-centric, all the 25 branches of Avadani tradition. Sahasravatana in all 25 branches, the mantra, power manifestation. Power manifestation, Shakti Avishkarana is one of the science branches. We can create kids who can perform 1,000 power manifestation at a time. Sahasravatana at a time. I can talk about all these things. With Paramashiva's grace, I have a right to talk about all these things because I already demonstrated many things which I am talking. The understand? The organ-centric Sahasravatana, That is what is this remote vision, ability to read blindfolded, and Shastra-centric, Sahasravatana. That is what is that any book, without opening the eyes, the kids can just tell what is there in which page. Already Nithyananda demonstrated this power multiple times. Sarvanyatva, not just Nithyananda, many kids along with Nithyananda demonstrated this power multiple times. And Astra-centric, Astra-Shastra-centric, Sahasravatana. This comes under this materialization. Many other power manifestations come under this Astra and Shastra-centric Sahasravatana. You can receive anything you want and send anything you want. Many of these powers, these Avadana traditions, these sciences I have demonstrated. Now, through a large-scale Gurukul, I'll be taking this whole science to the whole world. See, the good news I have for all of you is, with the grace of Paramashiva, we demonstrated it is possible. We already revived the foolproof. The methodology is success, end to end, the quality control passed. That is done. Now we will have to make it available to the whole world by making large numbers, like 10,000 balasans, 10,000 female sannyasinis, 10,000 rudraganyas, manifesting these different Avadana traditions. That is what we have to do, and that is what I am doing. That is what I am focused, and I know what all the dangers and attacks possible, what all the persecution, dangers and attacks possible. I am first doing all the protection needed to protect once I start doing this work. So understand, with the grace of Paramashiva, we will do it, and he is doing it. He is really doing it. He is doing great work in large scale. Great work in large scale. I am just creating the infrastructure needed to host these thousands of kids, thousands of Gurukul Balasans, thousands of sannyasis, Rudraganyas, Apat sannyasis, who will work on the superconscious mutation, start manifesting these powers. I'm just working. So understand, by the time I evolve these infrastructures, all of you who put the message, Shrikant, Nithyaramani, Ramesh Ramani, all of you, you guys plan for getting more and more Brahmin kids. Your very DNA which you want to revive. Start working. If you feel, oh, it is little late for me, Swamiji, especially Ramesh Ramani may say, I think Swamiji, it is little late for me. But no problem. You have daughters, you have sons and daughters. You tell your daughters to give birth. Let the next generation. See, if possible, you give birth. If not, your sons and your daughters. Ask them. If you want to 2 child for your family, have 2 for you, and give few more kids birth to at least 2-3 more, and let that child go and be part of the Gurukul and revive the Sanatana Hindu Dharma. I tell you, sending a child to the Gurukul will be equivalent to donating $1 billion to Hindu society. Because even if you give $1 billion, what will I do? I have to find a living DNA, kids who will go through the superconscious mutation process and manifest this to the world. I can do all the Sahasravatana, but one person doing, maybe it will bring glory to me, but I am interested in bringing the glory to the whole Hindu tradition, not just me. I am interested in reviving this whole tradition where 10,000 kids perform the superconscious mutation process of Sahasravatana. I want all the Brahmins to know, especially if you are from a family where alcohol and non-veg is not a lifestyle, where still you keep the Brahminical traditions alive, you are carrying something extraordinary in your DNA which can revive Hinduism. So I request the Brahmins, especially still who are living the Brahminical lifestyle of no non-veg, no alcohol, that lifestyle. You all need to know you are carrying something extraordinary in your DNA, and your kids not only can be the greatest gift for reviving Hinduism, they can be greatest gift for the whole humanity. Sonali Gupta is asking, what was the Kashmir Avatani tradition? Kashmir Avatani tradition was power manifestation science. On power manifestation, Shakti Avishkarana. If you see the whole Kashmiri Shaivite tradition, it was all about the power manifestation, Shakti Avishkarana. They were able to manifest 1,000 powers at a time. Sahasravatana on Shakti Avishkarana tradition. See, a university, Hindu university, this is the way it existed. Fortunately, I could get the blueprint of at least 12 universities that existed. Tarukavanam. Tarukavanam is one of the greatest Hindu university where the rewriting of all the Puranas happened. The Tarukavana rishis. And then the Kadambavanam. Kadambavanam is around the Madurai. There was a university. Madurai was called Kadambavanam, and around the Madurai, one university. And Vedaranyam, forest of Vedas in Tamil Nadu, Vedaranyam, and Kanchi. Like that, different universities' blueprints I got. Fortunately, Paramashiva gave access to me. In that, I saw all these universities had 25 branches of Sahasravatanis. People who can perform 1,000 actions spontaneously, simultaneously, synergetically. Because of the superconscious mutation, either centered on organs, or centered on Shastras, scriptures, or centered on Shakti Avishkarana, power manifestation, or centered on Astra Shastra Vidyas. Like these 25 branches, the metallurgy, and arts, the whole Vishwakarma Sampradaya. Understand, we had Vishwakarmas who can perform 1,000 acts at a time on the science of sacred arts. Vishwakarmas are called Vishwakarma Brahmins. You should know that. They are Brahmin DNA. That was one of the branch in the 25 branches of the university. With Paramashiva's grace, we will revive all the 25 branches. Sahasravadanis in each branch. At least few thousand kids, so that it is kept alive forever in the future. I have already demonstrated the grace of Paramashiva, the science Paramashiva gave to me is working. I have already demonstrated. Now I just needed to scale it up. And I also realized what all the external attacks and internal attacks possible. When I scale it up, based on that, I am creating an infrastructure where once we start doing it, we will not need to waste our time in defending ourselves from the external attacks and internal attacks. We have a complete foolproof system where there is no attacks. We are absolutely safe. With the grace of Paramashiva, he has already given us that kind of a legal, political structure. Now we are just making infrastructure. And this is what is the real revival of enlightened civilization. Conscious civilization. And I know now what I said, what I focused, and what I delivered is too much even to grasp. These Avadani traditions which I described, 4 different Avadani traditions. Organ-centered, mantra-centered, Shastra-Astra-centered, sacred arts centered. Just understanding this 4 itself, you need to watch this satsang at least for 10 days. And you should first of all understand Avadani. You should see few Avadanis. Only then you will understand what is this Avadani tradition. Only if you see my Gurukul Balasans manifesting some 10-12 powers, you will understand this power manifestation is possible. Till then you can never understand. You may think, no, it is not possible. It is all just humbug. You can go on. But only if you see, check for yourself, foolproof, you will understand, wow, it is all true. Same way, only if you see few Avadanis, you will understand the Avadani tradition is possible. Is possible. And understand all these various Avadani traditions. Totally 25 different Avadani traditions existed in Hinduism, documented as the documents I could see. Whatever documents I could see, I saw these 25 traditions. So, I am going to revive this 25, and Paramashiva has blessed me with the knowledge, ability, energy, Kundalini Shakti to perform the superconscious mutation for all these 25 traditions. In these 25 traditions, each one represents one face of Paramashiva. One face of Paramashiva represents one Avadani tradition. Avadani is a person who can perform multiple acts simultaneously, spontaneously, synergetically. Because of the superconscious mutation happened in him. It can be in the field of organs. It can be in the field of Shastra scriptures. It can be in the field of power manifestation, Shakti Avishkarana. It can be in the field of Stapatya Veda, sacred arts. Stapatya Veda. It can be in the field of food and medicine, Ayurveda, Ayush Veda. Food and medicine both are considered as the same branch in Hindu tradition. Food and medicine was not separate. It was one and the same in Hindu tradition. And all these 25 branches, with the grace of Paramashiva, we will be reviving through the superconscious mutation process. Paramashiva himself is here to do this work, to do this job. All the major Hindu universities we had, Naimisharanya, Tarukavana, Katambavana, Vedaranya, all these were the great universities which had all these 25 traditions, 25 Sarvanya Pitas. Understand? Temples, monasteries, gurukuls, libraries, all of them are containers. Content is this superconscious mutation process. Especially if you are from a Brahmin community who's still living the Brahminical traditional lifestyle of no non-veg and no alcohol. Actually, if you don't do Gayatri, if you don't do Sandhya Vandanam, if you don't do Agnihotra Mandala also is okay. I'm not saying don't do. Even if you have not performed all of that is also okay, because that can be just revived. But the non-veg and alcohol and drugs directly affects the very DNA structure. The capacity of the DNA is lost if you allow non-veg and alcohol and drugs. If you have kept non-veg, alcohol, drugs away and lived the Brahminical lifestyle. If you just keep these three away, that Brahminical lifestyle will be more than enough. You are still carrying a powerful DNA which can be a great blessing not only for Hindus, for the whole world. Because if you give one child, for example, Paramesha, Shri Advait and Mahadvait gave Paramesha and Tattva to Gurukul, especially Paramesha. The way he started manifesting powers when he was a kid, it is not that now he is only one sannyasi or one kid, one balasant manifesting powers. He is going to revive, inspire a lineage. I am giving an example. If he becomes a Pitadipati, once fully able to perform Sahasravatana, 1000 actions, he can easily perform 50 at least right now. 50 power manifestation he can perform right now, simultaneously, spontaneously, synergetically. I just need to support him with the ecosystem, and it will be just hardly 2-3 years work for him to become 1000 Sahasravatani in power manifestation, in Shakti Avishkarana. Because he's a Tamil Brahmin, the Tanjavur Brahmin DNA, he will be naturally centered on mantra, the Shastra, scripture centric Sahasravatani, that he will naturally manifest with the power manifestation. Because power manifestation directly I am giving. So you will be able to do both, like a power manifestation Sahasravatana and mantra, Shastra manifestation Sahasravatana. Both you will be able to easily perform. So when he does that, if he becomes a Pitadipati, a sannyasi, he will be inspiring millions of the next generation to become sannyasis and take the science forward. If he decides to become Grihastha, when he grows up and if he decides he wants to get married, at least his whole family and the lineage, that Karuvali Parambarai, will start carrying the same awakened superconscious mutation DNA. Anyway, he will be blessing for the world. If he takes up Grihastha, he will be making few kids manifesting. If he becomes sannyasi, he will be making few thousand kids manifesting this Sahasravatana. That's all. Understand? What I am talking is a clear Paramashiva's blueprint. He will do it. He is doing it. He is doing it. I tell you, the real work is all about super conscious mutation. Actually, when Paramesha had a fracture in the hand, it is because of my fear for Mahadvait and Rishi Advait, I sent him to hospital. If there was no interference of Mahadvait and Rishi Advait, I would not have sent him to hospital. Because I know how to heal it simply, just by the superconscious mutation. But Mahadvait is terrorized. What can I do? I have to be legally right as per the Indian law. So I said, all right, take him to hospital and do what need to be done. I only consciously supported him. If I did not have Mahadvait, Rishiyadvait's interference, all it would have taken for me is 10 minutes to remove the pain, next 10 minutes to make the bone set. And after half an hour, I'll tell them, hey, now take the X-ray and show that it's all clear. The X-ray will prove he's all right, it's all clear. That's it. No question of any other things needed. Because this Avadana tradition, when the superconscious mutation starts happening inside a child, he gets the power to manifest the body as he wants. Paramesha did not have pain when he had a fracture, his connection with me. But he has to be sent to hospital for medical attention is because of Mahadvait and Rishiyadvait's fears. Middle class Hindus, what to do? For last 5-6 generations, even they do not know that this kind of avadana is possible, and even they have not seen their parents or great-grandparents manifesting these powers. At least 3-4 generations it is gone. So they are all jittery, shaky middle-class Hindus. Always they want to have a plan B, that fallback. And it is not their mistake. That is the way now, because for so many generations you did not see all this is possible. Forget about Mahadvait, Rishiyadvait, Paramesha getting medically treated. When I had the fracture, not only I did not have pain, but finally, no hospital was ready to do the surgery without anesthesia. I am telling, hey, I am an adult. I will write and give you that I don't want anesthesia. You perform the surgery directly. Actually, I did not even want to go to the allopathy hospital. I want to go to the Puttur. In Tamil Nadu, there is a place called, sorry, not Tamil Nadu, Andhra. There is a place called Puttur, Nagari Puttur, where the Sahasravadanis of medical field, in that one branch is still alive. Any kind of fracture, they will cure it without any surgery in 10 days. From all over the world, people come there. I want to go there actually. But these guys were constantly, these doctors, no, we cannot discharge you from the hospital and it has to be done within next few hours. All this big mess. And I thought, oh God, even I have to be legally obedient. Obey legally. Even I cannot go through the surgery without anesthesia. That was. But what to do? When you are in a country, you have to go through their legal system. Actually, the moment I had the fracture, I told my disciples, hey, drive to Nagariputtur directly. Don't go to Bangalore. But somehow these fellows said, no, Swamiji, let's first take the X-ray and know where the fracture is exactly and take it to the Nagariputtur so that they will repair it. We will go to hospital only for diagnosis, but treatment we will go to Nagariputtur. But once you enter the hospital, they say, no, we can't discharge you. You are a VIP. And the hospital will get the bad name if we send you out. Then I said, all right, perform at least surgery without anesthesia. But the law is law. They said, no, it's a law of the land. They have to first of all report to police and they have to report to government because a VIP having a hand fracture and they are answerable to any of the repercussions or outcomes. Anyhow, but I tell you, Only when I demonstrate the powers of the superconscious mutation, world will realize the greatest gift Hindus are having, which need to be shared with the whole world. This will be the greatest gift Hindus will be giving to the whole world. I'll continue with my initiations into superconscious mutation in the further sessions. Today I wanted to reveal the blueprint, Paramashiva's blueprint. In the further satsangs, I'll give detailed initiations. So, with this, I bless you all. Let's all radiate with integrity, authenticity, responsibility, enriching, causing, living Shuddhatvaita Saivam, Paramadvaitam, the state, space, powers, being, superconsciousness, and Kailasa of Paramashiva, Paramashivoham, Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham, the eternal bliss, Maha Kailasa of Paramashiva, Paramashivoham, Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham, the eternal bliss, Nithyananda. Thank you. Be blissful.